I'll share some reality with everyone. I don't think we heard much tonight. The federal debt is over $1 trillion market debt right now. And this has started since Pierre Trudeau in 1974, and it's only increased with these mainstream parties. We're paying over $32 billion a year in debt service payments to guess who? Banks. $32 billion a year, right out of your pockets every year. Think about it. It's only growing. I hear about spending more from our conservative friend, liberal friend. Spend more, add to the debt. This is enslavement on the Canadian people. National debt, we're paying, it's around $66 billion a year now in debt service payments. Coupled with this, we've been lied to. The Canadian people have been lied about the true migration numbers into Canada. We're told 300,000 by the mainstream parties and their cohorts, the mainstream media. The true numbers, right this year alone, 2019, over 1 million migrants are coming into Canada through all streams. This is connected to healthcare. It's putting strain on our resources, our welfare, our healthcare, social services. New migrants in the country are $40 billion a year taxation negative. And this is out of a study of SFU. NCA wants to rein this monstrosity in. It's threatening rural Canada. By 2100, and these are studies by Dr. Kaufman and others, traditional Canada is going to be reduced to 20% of the population. By 2100, we're around 75% right now. So what you see in your communities, you're going to lose it if this continues. Your identity, your heritage, your beautiful way of life. And I've seen it in Parrsboro and other areas of this Cumberland and Colchester, beautiful traditional communities here. You're under threat, under the mainstream parties, and guess what it is? It's a globalist agenda that's going on. Look up UN Agenda 21, passed by Mulroney. Look up UN Agenda 2030, adopted by Harper. Look them up when you get home. Fact check me. This is the true globalist agenda going on. Our country is completely sold out to these globalist corporations. These mainstream parties are just puppets. Puppets of these mainstream parties. And that's the truth. I'll share more. Fact check me. And love Canada, we're under threat.
Great. Well, thank you very much. 3 minutes is not a lot of time to talk about the entire policy of a political party and a political campaign, so I'll start just by hitting on a couple of highlights. My campaign team and myself started going door to door in January. Tomorrow we will hit, I think, 30,000 doors knocked and about 17,000 people spoken to. About 85% of the people we spoke to at the door, their number one issue is healthcare. This is my 4th federal election. This is the first time a provincial issue like healthcare has exploded federally the way it has. And this is something we have to react to, because with an aging population in Nova Scotia and some structural things that have been done by the provincial government, healthcare is very, very difficult to deliver in the rural areas right now, and it needs to be addressed. And how can the federal government help support the provincial government in delivering healthcare, particularly in the rural areas? Our party has put 2 planks in the platform I think directly apply to this. The first is we're going to guarantee a 3% increase in the transfers coming from the federal government every year we're in power. If the economy grows by more than 3%, it will be more, but the very lowest level it can be is an increase of 3%. The important point about that is it gives the province stable funding that they can count on so they can plan and budget. That's the first thing. The second thing we're going to do is allocate $1.5 billion towards the purchase of CT scanners and MRIs, because the magnetic resonance that you do with this new equipment is much, much more detailed than the previous equipment that's been existing in most of our hospitals in Nova Scotia and the land of Canada. So the provincial levels of government are going to have to purchase this new equipment, because we all know that early detection, and for things like breast cancer, lead to saving more lives, but also you can treat it early, far less more expensive than you can treat someone later when they get to a stage 3 or stage 4. So this investment will help take that burden off the provincial level of government so they can then focus on getting more doctors, more nurses, and more nurse practitioners, eyeball health care. I'd also like to see more long-term care beds built because we have seniors in hospitals waiting for long-term care, and then patients who are being brought in by people, the paramedics and other first responders, have to wait in the hallway because there's no beds available. That's a bottleneck. We haven't had new long-term care beds built really since 2009 in Nova Scotia. We have to do that again. So there's a couple of things the federal government can do to really support the provincial government in delivering health care. The last thing I'd like to see, I've got 30 seconds left, I've stopped with health care. The last thing is we need to change the taxation in Nova Scotia and lower taxes. Doctors in Nova Scotia pay 54% income tax, the highest in the country. And because of the way our premiers negotiated contracts, they're the lowest paid. If we want to bring doctors to rural areas like Parrsboro, we have to change that. Because why would they stay in the area of the highest taxes and the lowest pay? Something's got to give there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So healthcare and the environment are actually, I believe, intertwined. Without a healthy environment, we cannot be a healthy people, and we cannot have healthy wildlife, healthy forests, healthy rivers, lakes, streams, and oceans. So, to begin with, yes, Nova Scotia is suffering under a healthcare crisis right now. However, so are many other Canadians who are desperately in need of doctors, family doctors. Canadians across the country, there's about 5 million Canadians without a family doctor right now. And so our government, the Liberal government, if re-elected, is committed to trying to provide doctors for everybody and quicker turnaround service. I know we've heard this before in Nova Scotia, and we know how difficult it is, but this government is determined to try and do this. One of the things that the government is doing is investing an additional down payment of $6 billion over the next 4 years to support a stronger Medicare and public health system, because we do not want to go the way of the states and have private health care, and I would be afraid under a Conservative government that we might go down that road. We need better access and faster access to mental health services. Anybody here in Nova Scotia knows that. And to that end, the federal government has actually introduced $138 million each year for the next 5 years extra on top of the health transfers for mental health and home care, and an extra $3 million this year for addiction services. On top of that, the government already is giving 4% more increase each year in our health transfers. So we're already giving more than what the Conservative government or what the Conservatives are saying that they would do. That said, we also need to be able to purchase drugs more quickly and more cheaply, so we will be introducing universal pharmacare. And I think that is about time that Canada has something like that. I believe that the child disability benefit also to help parents who take care of children's impairments, their learning and speech disabilities, psychological disorders, and autism spectrum is going to be increased from $2,000 up to $5,664 each year per family, and I think that will be a great help. When we come to the environment, as I said, without a healthy environment, we don't have health and we don't have an economy. So the government plans on introducing legally binding 5-year milestones based on the advice of experts to reach net zero emissions by 2050. And we also plan to invest $3 billion to conserve and restore forests, grasslands, agricultural lands, wetlands, and coastal areas. And there's a lot more to talk about later on. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Last but not least. One of the most important issues for our party in this election is climate change, and we have to stop funnel the Hillary on this issue. My party is talking about the creation of hundreds of thousands of jobs as we transition from a fossil fuel-based economy to a green economy. $3 billion investment in a climate bank. A climate bank would invest in technology and in the development of other forms of energy, like tidal power, like wind and like geothermal in Spring Hill. So we can benefit from it in this area. And another $15 billion to implement other programs to transition toward that green economy, including a Made in Canada electric car program to boost our manufacturing sector. The second important issue we've been talking about is the universal pharmacare program and expansion of Medicare to include dental, health, and vision. Those are very important additions to the Medicare system. And another is proportional representation, where every vote will count. And if you believe in proportional representation, you can't get it by voting Liberal, and you can't get it by voting Conservative. Liberals promised it, and they didn't deliver. Now, I want to touch on a little bit about international affairs before my 3 minutes runs out. Our party talks about a two-state solution to the Israel and Palestine situation. We want to boost international assistance, and our goal is 0.7% of our gross national income. And we want to hold Canadian companies to a high standard of corporate social responsibility because they don't always obey the rules in other countries. In immigration, we want to advantage ourselves of new talent, energy, and diversity and richness that the immigrants will bring. Our priority will be family reunification. There's a backlog now. We want to break the backlog and get moving forward with it. And we want to work with the provinces to improve settlement services so that those who come here are happy to stay.